Kia ora everybody, you're tuning into Dr. Burst from Tamaki Makaurau in Aotearoa. For those tuning in for the first time, the Pavilion project is a wooden structure located in Henderson, and every 2 months it gets repainted by a different artist with a new design, with a provocation for each artist inspired by the Opanuku stream which runs underneath the site. The structure itself was designed by students from Unitec and the School of Architecture, and the project is funded by Eke Panuku Development. In this month's iteration of the Pavilion, we've got the super talented Rangi Matthews, also known as Too Easy, which is a name given to him by his wife. Rangi is a Māori artist, father to a massive tribe of kids, and an educator to several groups of youth in South Auckland. To kick things off, could you introduce yourself and let us know who you are?
Thank you, brother. So, my government name is Rangi Matthews. I go by the name Too Easy, which was given to me 21 years ago by my wife. And yeah, I am from Gisborne and Tauranga.
Nice.
Living up here in Manukau, Auckland.
Where does the name Too Easy? How did she land on that?
So, I had been painting some paintings, and she had been my sidekick for a long time. So I've been with this girl for 22 years, and she captured this thing about how I paint, and she said, you make it look too easy, and she gave me that name. And she said the name Too Easy is really capturing your confidence in how you deal with things. So yeah, confidence in my craft, Too Easy. I know some other writers there said that's quite a cocky name, and I think if they understand where it originated from my wife, they could understand that it meant your confidence in your craft.
I love it, bro. Not only confidence, but I think positivity.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of a motto mindset type of thing. So yeah, I love the name.
That's awesome, bro. All right, so what I'd love to do is kind of go way back, and this may be chronological, it may not be, I'm not too sure, but could we go back to life in Gisborne? Is that where you were born and raised?
Born in Nelson.
Oh, Nelson.
Yeah, born in Nelson. So for a little moment, moved to Wellington up until 1990, and then moved to Gisborne, where I could first start talking a little bit of English, because I was all Māori back then. So Gisborne, met my cousins, and they broke me in, horrified me, and I started speaking the reo, the English, the hoariness, and there was that, right back to Gisborne.
Amazing, bro. And is that where you went to high school?
My high school was kind of broken up. I went to Gisborne, Lytton High School, boys' high school. Moved back and forth to Tauranga, Otamotai High School. So yeah, we kind of worked around my parents because they weren't always together. So we were just kind of back and forward with them. So I spent a lot of time with a lot of different people at a lot of different schools.
And what was your favourite subject at school?
Art was right at the top. I never really liked anything else, so yeah, I kind of wanted to just bunk everything and just be all art and go all in. Some things were compulsory, maths and English, but I think the next subject after that was probably science. And
in art, just to be clear as well, was that specifically painting, or was it like photography or printmaking, or?
At the time, it was just paintbrush. There are some other things that they were trying to introduce, but I just could not let go of the paintbrush. And I think a lot of it came from how I was brought up, because my mum and dad were artists. My dad being a carver and my mum was a weaver. So art was in the family my whole life, and I was really just trying to master that paintbrush and get the feels of it.
Oh, That sounds like another amazing story to kind of tap into, which we might come back to. But so, when you were at high school, were you a model student or were you getting in trouble?
I was a bit of both. So I was inspiring a lot of people around me, and I was heavily influenced from a lot of people around me at the same time. So I was a bit of a Batman and Joker at the same time guy.
That's a good description. I like that. And so after high school, I mean, you're kind of bouncing, like you said, between Tauranga and Gisborne. What's the next steps? Were you like, hey, I like art and this is what I'm going to pursue, or?
I quickly jumped on a Polytech course called Tuihaukura, which is a contemporary Māori arts course in Gisborne. And I studied for 4 years, learning about our culture, our designs and where they come from, different parts of Aotearoa. And did a lot of study around that, and waiata and haka. So funny enough, this was a school that both my parents went to, in which they were very happy about me going to the school because they wanted me to go and branch out to do other things like tamoko with another great artist called Mark Corpora. But I wanted to jump on the course and see what it was all about myself. And finished that.
What was out of that 4 years? What were 3 things that you kind of take away from that?
3 things that I could take away. So a lot about our people, real deep about more tete and our whakapapa and our designs. I met some awesome ass people there, people that I'm still friends with. But I think mainly the design part of it, which is why I know what I'm painting when it comes to kōwhaiwhai and kōrus. I can put meanings behind all of the patterns, so I'm really grateful to learn all of those things. It was a real timely course that we had to invest a lot of time into knowing what we were doing when it came down to doing tamoko patterns and kōwhaiwhai designs on walls. So I'm just glad that I'm at a point where I know where I can back up what I'm painting.
And when you were studying that program, was it full immersion, like they spoke te reo, or was it taught in English as well?
It was mainly taught in English. It was a bit of both actually. It was awesome that if you could talk in Māori, but a lot of us were just coming in with English. A great course actually. So Derek Lardeli, Steve Gibbs, at the time were taking us. 2 awesome people, great artists.
That's amazing, bro. Were there many other non-Māori people there, like Pākehā people studying that course, or was it all Māori?
It was a handful of Pākehā people in there, and I think their journey of being in there as well was also to find themselves in their whakapapa where they root back from. So a lot of self-finding who you are and depicting them through our mahi, our paintings, when it comes down to having exhibitions.
That's amazing, man. And through that journey of studying in that program, have you made some lifelong friends, people that you kind of still stay in touch with?
Yeah, brother. We never really let each other go. Great connection there, and kind of friends for life. Big crew. So grateful again. These guys have carried on to be some amazing artists, full-time tattooists, painters, exhibitors, and I was that guy. And between them all, now incorporating graffiti in amongst it, there wasn't much people like me, myself.
And so after we've finished studying this particular program, what next? Now that you've kind of gained all of this knowledge, you're bouncing between two cities. What's next on the cards for you?
Next on the cards was I jumped on a multimedia course by a guy called Phil Berry, another great artist. He was also a student at Toihokura, good friend of my parents. And at the time, he was teaching how to make web pages, websites, HTML.
And just to clarify, what year is this, like approximately?
Oh yeah, brother, this would be around, I think, 2006. Yeah, back in my day. So way back then. Awesome times. So digital had just come into my life. My wife at the time was trying to teach me how to use a computer because I was so anti-computer, especially when it came to Photoshop and stuff, that she said, man, you need to really look into this stuff and use these things as a tool. And I finally picked it up through this course with Phil at a place called Matapuna. So a couple of years learning about how to create web pages and running us through and understanding what Photoshop was and Illustrator was. And at the end of all of that, I was blown away about how much it could improve my work and using these things as a tool. So it done a great deal for me, and I'm very, very grateful that I went through those years, because now I'm taking on digital life like, man, I should have did this earlier, but it all paid off. Like we're going forward into this digital age. I don't think, we need to adapt to these things, because it is a digital age.
So much crazy shit happening in the digital space.
Yeah. Oh, it's wicked. My kids are way ahead of me, but when it comes to drawing and using the stylus formats, it helps if you know these type of things when it comes to design, I think. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. And so now that it sounds like you're gathering quite a lot of knowledge under your tool belt.
Yeah.
What are we doing with all this knowledge?
So with all this knowledge, it's putting me on this purpose course, I think. So I'm learning all these different mediums about how to create this big moment in my life, which I want to produce some works in different styles to contribute towards different charities. So my long life dream is to produce some artworks and have them auctioned off in 100 different styles. So I want a big exhibition showing all the things that I've learned over all my years of learning, all the different styles.
Sick. That sounds like a great dream.
It is a great dream, brothers, and I haven't let it go. And I felt like everything that I've learned is built up towards this moment.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen, yeah. So
that's amazing, man. And so in terms of some of those things that you've learned and studied, at one point, I don't know where kind of along this timeline, you ended up in Australia. I remember you telling me about.
Yeah.
Could you give us a little bit of a rundown of how that happened?
So how it happened, not long after that multimedia course, I moved to Tauranga with my wife. I got her pregnant with our first child, and we moved to Auckland, and I got my first job, which was at Bunnings, Manukau. I just so happened to meet a guy who went by the name Curve at the time. Great artist, another great artist. And I spent a couple of years at Bunnings, Manukau, and he left. I can remember that he left and he went to Australia. A along the way, I heard that he was employed by these guys called Gangster Graphics. And I also slipped in, at that time, a little email to the team saying, hey, would you guys take on any more artists, as I'm an artist as well, but I'm also airbrushing on clothing over here in Auckland. And they said, oh, well, we'll get back to you in a few months' time and see what happens. And just so happened, they mailed me back and said, we're going to offer you a job. Holy moly, that blew my mind. And I just got my wife pregnant with the second child. So yeah, babies were coming out, and then they threw their bone, and it was a great bone. Like moving to the big Australia Gold Coast was a bit of a big dream job for me, as I was living in a place called Radovine. So it happened. I think I manifested it by sending the email and left it with them. I left it with the universe, and then it came back on me. So they gave me that opportunity, went over, caught up with Curve, who was already 2 years deep over there, and he was outlining hats. So when I turned up, I was put on the background part, which was doing the colours for the hats, handing it over to Curve. Awesome times.
And so, for people that don't know, what exactly did Gangster Graphics as that business? What did they actually do?
Yeah, so they were doing personalised names on the spot on hats, which took about 5 minutes, sometimes faster, because the boys were guns. And that was their main service, was personalised names on hats. So they had a style chart to choose from, and they had about 32 different styles, and the customer would walk in, choose the hat, and put down the name that they wanted, and we'd do it in record time on the spot. So they could watch us at Movie World, Sea World, Surfers Paradise Market, where is something else? Yeah, everyone that was coming up to us was blown away. And to see us working on the spot like that, working with all the different troubles that we might get, clogged guns, and fixing it on the spot was quite amazing to watch, because we were under the pump, and that really built on our confidence on how we would paint and not mind people watching us.
So you guys bounced around with that airbrushing business. Like, it's not like a physical shop at one particular spot, or?
Yeah, SeaWorld and Movie World was a physical spot, and Carrara Markets. It all started from Carrara, I think, for the bro Matty. It all sprung from there many years ago, and he ended up getting spots at Movie World and Sea World, and Carrara, not Carrara Markets, Surfers Paradise Markets was like 3 times a week. So we were constantly working. Great team. Yeah, it was. I just remember like leaving in the morning, kissing my wife, and I never saw her till like midnight.
Damn.
Yeah, so
that was like a full-time gig.
It was, brother. Yeah. Some days we were doing 3 shifts at once throughout the day. But with a smile. We were loving what we were doing. We really were. We had a great team.
Love it, bro. And so kind of coming back to, I guess, your family life. You've got a big family.
Yeah, brother. Just everywhere I went, just having babies. I had a baby in Australia, and I just had another one now, number 5.
Number 5.
Yeah, you could say, why don't you have a TV in your house? But when you love somebody, you have time with them. You get on with it, and you live that happy, never-ending story.
That's incredible, bro. Can you, for me as a new father, what are some maybe 3 or 4 lessons that you've learned, or maybe that you could share with us in relation to having and taking care of 5 kids?
Enjoy the process. Yeah, we're all beginners. There's no real guidebook on being a good parent. It can test you. I just think as long as you and your wahine are together, riding it out together, being there for baby, the rest will follow. Yeah, there's lots of learning. You can bounce off your parents, other parents, ask questions, but there's no perfect parent. But me 5 kids later, I love it. My kids are like monkeys in the zoo. I always call them monkeys, and I think letting them know that they are loved is important too, because they don't get to see dad a whole lot of the time, but when I do come home, I let them know that I love them, and that's something that you can only feel, I think, rather than just say it.
That's amazing, bro. And so during the normal work week, other than taking care of the kids, I know that you're also part of the Beautification Trust.
Yep.
Could you let me know a little bit about what that entails and what you do for that?
Yep. So how I got the job was through another artist. His name is Paz. I added him on Facebook. He advertised the job. I got my foot in the door because I had already been doing murals for them in the past, as far as 14 years back. So that helped. And when I did get it, my boss said I think it'd be a great collaboration to have you with us, being an artist and a worker. And I heard it off. So when I got in there, the community team, which is another office at our HQ, we were trying to snag me all the time and include me into youth events and murals. So I was being pushed and pulled all the time, and then, I'm really grateful to have met this group because they are all community, and they had me busy, which I'm grateful for, because I've done a few murals for them now and met a few youth groups through them, which has also developed into other employment, running youth workshops. So
that's sick. Could you tell me a little bit about the programming that you're doing with the youth? That sounds awesome, man.
Yeah, brother. So I met a couple of youth programs down there at our HQ, and
so those workshops, they're not part of Beautification Trust.
They were to start with. I ended up catching them there, and they liked how I engaged with the kids, how I was speaking with them, and they offered me some work. He said, "Would you like to come and do some work with us?" In a funny backdoor sense, but they said, "Can you design some classes, and we'll have a look at it." So I went away. They said, design 10 classes and we'll have a look. And she went, "Oh man, that's mean." And they said, "Okay, we're going to bring you on. Here's a little budget to cover this." And it hit it off. So I designed these classes in a way where each class, they were going to walk away with something, whether it was a hat, or like the process of doing their names on a hat, or a pencil case, or a bag, canvas, some history about graffiti world, where it come from, and then also a little bit of history about the printing side of things. How do you apply paint to garments? So yeah, very exciting. I've already completed a couple more, and I've got to go down to Gisborne and do some. I have some today after May. So I think what worked was putting that spark in the kids' eyes and inspiring them. So they're happy all across the board because every day they get to go home with something that they created that I taught them how to create.
That's amazing, bro. And out of those, like, say, 10 sessions, is that every Monday for 10 weeks, or is it like 5 days, or what's the...
To start off with, it was 1 day a week for 2 hours. Yeah. So for a couple of hours, and I had to like design it in a way where I could get the maximum excitement out of it for them. So, and lay up some spot prizes, even some cash money as incentive to, the best effort gets so many dollars. So that was just pushing them to create their best and bring out their best even more, and dropping in that bit of excitement inside them.
That's amazing, bro. And what sort of age bracket are these kids?
These kids are about 13 to 16. Yeah.
And these are kids that are outside of the mainstream education system?
Yep. I would say they're coming from a place that's, I don't know how to word it, but youth is the word. Yeah. A little bit troubled.
Yep.
Mischief comes to mind. But I think that's why I could adapt to them so easily, is I could talk their language and have a giggle in between, and swing a bit of education in the middle. So yeah, and I connected well to these guys. I think having a good connection with everybody is, and an understanding connection is an important one, I think, because I was their kid once upon a time too.
Amazing, bro. And I think hats off to you for stepping into that space and working with the youth, because obviously those people are our future. Yep. And often I think that's neglected, especially the ones that might come from challenging circumstances, and maybe they don't fit into the mainstream kind of system of education, and having another pathway for them to tap into and kind of upskill, that's always something that I'm super about as well.
Yep.
So in relation to your work at the Beautification Trust, obviously one component of that as well, other than doing the murals, opportunities to do the murals, is you also handle some of the buffing.
Yes, brother.
So I'm interested to know, you're buffing out graph and stuff. Have you ever had much conflict with the writers? Because a lot of the writers out there have this, I guess, attitude of F the buff and whatever.
Yep.
So how do you kind of manage that? Or have you ever encountered any situations where you've had to manage some drama or something?
Yeah, that's a funny one. There has been a few incidences with our other workers. I think it comes down to how we approach each other. I've been approached a few times from different writers that I have buffed on the spot, and had their cordial with them on the spot with, "Oh, cheer, brother, is this your mate? Oh, right. I like to lean towards the conversation that we need to be at peace with each other, because I can't stop you and you definitely can't stop me. I just happen to be too easy doing this, and I think just like last week I bumped into 5 different writers, taggers that I had been buffing, and they yelled out, "Hey, are you too easy?" And I started giggling on the spot, and they started giggling, and I was, oh, he's a bit of a joker. So I pull up and, kia ora, brothers. Yeah, how's it going, Che? Oh, I saw the mahi you did over there, Che, good one. Some of our other workers are quite, rah. But I understand what they're doing. I understand graffiti and why you put your name up to give out a roll call. So I've got quite a open mind to why things are the way they are. And I've been voicing that if this is a problem and we're just scrubbing them out all the time, are we coming up with any solutions to providing spaces for these guys? Because this is a real art, and I don't think anyone has been voicing it in the circles that I'm in now. So I have been working hard for us to get these spaces and get us acknowledged and recognized as artists. But yeah, it's kind of tough work when the taxes go and destroy stuff. And I see those are just choices from people. It's not all of us doing this. So yeah, I've bumped into a few people, brother, and I've walked away happy and understanding and made connections with these guys. So yeah, I think understanding.
Love it. And so with the Beautification Trust itself, is that organisation mainly focused on like maintenance and cleaning up graff for people that don't know what it is? Or because it's not part of the council?
Oh yeah, we work alongside council, but there's like 24 different programs in our big powerhouse, and graffiti is just one of them. So cleaning up the streets, which is our crew, small crew, and another crew focusing on pests and recycling, and there's so much more, but it's all aimed at the community. And yeah, graffiti is just one small part of the program.
Love it. And do you think, because I'm not like super familiar with, what happens with the councils and things like that and different organisations that contribute to making the communities better, but I've always just had this point of view that the council have a zero tolerance kind of approach towards graffiti. Right. Does the Beautification Trust, you're describing your point of view to, when you're at the table to be able to speak your voice, about offering alternative solutions. Are they usually open to that, or is it just paint it out?
Yeah, just paint it out. You kind of have to make a noise where it's going to be heard, and no one's making that noise because it's all about painting it out or finding ways to make it harder for taggers to access things. So yeah, no one is being that voice, and no one knows that I am being that voice for us. So yeah, it's been a bit of work, but I'm getting there. I've only been here 1 year. It's been a good year, but a lot of exciting stuff has happened, and they've provided a few walls and still are sourcing walls and working alongside me about how can we create some positive things through this.
Love it, bro. And I think that's one thing that's definitely been missing for a long time in the streets is a voice to find alternative solutions, and for me the logic behind whenever you see in the media like, we spent $2 million cleaning graffiti, blah blah blah, every year in year out, it's obviously not worked for the past 30-40 years. So what's going to be any different next year, and just nobody's been, I guess, at the table to voice some alternative solutions. And it might be things like having some permitted legal spaces for people to produce work where they often don't have a blank canvas to do that, or things like these kind of youth workshops and upskilling, because for me, I'm just such a firm believer that if you can empower people with more knowledge and education, and they become better, it's gonna lead to greater things.
Yes.
So it's awesome to see you stepping into that space to do that. So alongside the buffing and the workshops, you're doing a bunch of murals as well. Could you run me through what that kind of involves?
So I do some murals for Beautification Trust, and also murals through myself with my clients. Keeps me very busy. It's different to paint for the council because they got different ways to paying you, and that can come from how they source their funding and their yearly budget. So it's been different every time. They can do it by the hour or as a lump sum. Whereas how I'm doing it out on my own is kind of just dealing with the clients and coming up with a back and forward information thing that we do on how to come up with the final price. So it's quite exhausting sometimes. I'm having to put on a different hat for a different person all the time. The council hat, or a client who found me in Marketplace. And every time I'm learning about how to get better at my kōrero. So it's different all the time. Some people want it cheap, some people see the value in you. And I think it's important for you to see the value in yourself. Yeah.
And for people that are not familiar with your work, what type of murals do you create?
I create mainly cultural murals, stories of the area. Most of the times it's based on the brief that I get from the client, but sometimes the client will match me to what I've done before and say, this guy is what we're looking for. He can produce display what we're thinking.
Love it. And so in relation to this particular project that we've been working on at the Pavilion in Henderson, could you tell me a little bit about the concept of what you painted for this?
Yeah, cool, brother. So my idea was the outside of the pavilion was power, beautiful, and I also did the inside as well. So those colours are depicting the not so good part about the creek. Pretty basic. So beautiful on the outside, but within it there is this little bit of damage, this little bit of mamai about most creeks that are getting polluted and hurt on.
And neglected.
Yes.
And for the people that don't know or don't live in the area, there's been a lot of people that are chucking trolleys and stuff and rubbish, into the stream there. And there hasn't been a hell of a lot of work to maintain it.
Yes. Yeah, brother. So, and that's what that mahi represents was, all creeks, rivers can be beautiful. It looks beautiful from the outside. But there's also that part about it as well. The neglect, the hurt, what we're doing to the place, So it's got a bit of both in there. And it's showered by the beautifulness on the outside.
Love it. And the way that you executed that power shell, super good, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Rendered really nice. It came out really good. So I guess moving forward, you're taking care of kids, which is already a full-time job in itself. You've got all of this amazing project work that you're doing with the Beautification Trust and giving back to the community. You've got this dream exhibition that you're working towards. Is there any other projects that you've got in the pipeline coming up?
Maybe just balance. I try and not do too much of one thing or have it outweigh the other. it's been quite challenging because I'll be coming home super exhausted. I'll have heaps more other work to do. And I've really been watching that over time of how I'm balancing all of this, because I'm just taking on so much that is quite heavy, and finding ways of how to filter them out and not have it affect my whānau. So when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids, or I'm not with my kids thinking about work. So yeah, it's a real balancing game. So yep, trying to master it all and master myself and time.
That's one of the greatest challenges as a creative, eh?
Oh yeah.
And so I guess we're coming to the end of this conversation, but I've got two other things that I'm just interested to know, and that's who would be along this kind of journey, creative journey of yours. Who would be some other pivotal or important people that have helped you along the way to kind of get to where you are for whatever reason?
Number one, my wife. She's always been there, and she's had to put up with a lot and sacrifice a lot. And my kids, I think, they're my number one supporters and have given up the most for me, which is my time away from them. So in terms of other artists, I feel like I'm not looking over at a lot of artists. I am inspired by a lot of artists. You're one of them, brother, since long ago.
Thank you.
But I think they had to hold a lot of that over the years of where I'm going with what I'm doing, because I'm so hungry with what I'm trying to get at and what I'm trying to fight for. And a lot of it was my name at the time, being accepted for the way I am as an artist, because I'm quite I was quite messy. I was quite all over the place. I'm also a part of a lot of different circles that are not just in the arts. So I'm trying to inspire others and stay active and stay hungry and get it right. And I think getting it right was doing it with a positive mindset and doing it with a genuine heart.
Love it, bro. And so one last question that I've got for you is, what would be 3 pieces of advice that you would give to an aspiring artist or creative wanting to kind of step into, painting murals and or even in art in general? What would be 3 pieces of advice you'd give them?
Believe in yourself. Yeah. Believe in yourself. Ask questions. Do a lot of research. Ask questions to the right people in the right areas. People that have done it before. Get inspired. Get excited. Grab that word excited, because it's something that I chase all the time. I love to be excited about painting. I'm always being excited when I'm painting. Network with a lot of people. Get your story heard. I know it's probably more than a couple of things, but I'm just straight off the bat here. Get excited. Learn lots. Ask questions. Network. Have fun. My journey was a lifelong experience that I feel is not over yet, but have fun with it. Know where you're going. Know your purpose, and just go hard.
Love it, bro. Awesome. Really appreciate the korero around your journey and what you do, and I'm super excited to obviously see what comes next, and I can't wait for this exhibition. Do we have a timeline for this grand exhibition that you're working on?
Brother, I think it's coming out real soon, like next year.
Sick.
Yeah. it's been building up for it, and the timing of it all is heading towards this point. So yeah,
Amazing,
I
bro.
can't wait for it, brother. So lots of people will benefit from it, and it's not about my name, it's about giving, because there's more than enough in the world to share.
Love it, bro. That's a very positive message to end on that note. So thank you so much, bro. Really appreciate it. Once again, the work that you did on the pavilion was incredible, and we're super stoked to have you as one of the artists. And I'm sure Henderson will be very proud of the work that you created there, contributed to that community. So sounds good. Are there any final shout outs you'd like to make?
Shout out to my whānau, and shout out to everybody who's listening. Thank you, Brother Burst. Appreciate you more than you know.
To our audience, if you've managed to sit through the entire video, we hope that was insightful, and as always, a huge thank you to Ed from Eke Panuku Development for funding this project and continuing to enable public art to be accessible for the community. We hope that by providing the pavilion as a platform for artists to showcase their work, it can help to enrich some of the spaces which are used by the community. So thank you for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode of the Pavilion Project. Peace.